Last time you rebooted your computer? Think about it. I haven't rebooted my computer in months. And the reason is because nothing bad has happened. We didn't have like all the Chrome tabs all of a sudden die, or I need an update or something like that happens. I don't reboot my computer or just shut it down for a second until something happens. And I really need to do that. And I need to take some time out of my day, or I restart it overnight to do the software update or whatever that looks like. Oftentimes, this same exact thing is true inside of our lives. Usually, folks will take a break when we are told to take a break, whether that's by our personal health or our kiddos need something from us, or something's going on in our life where we need to take significant time off from work, and it starts to become this reactive state around rest. The tough part is, and I've noted this in my book, The Sabbatical Method. I've seen this over the decade almost of operational support from founders and leaders in operations, is that oftentimes our computer needs just a hard reset. It just needs to be shut down for a second. The same is true about our business. And I want to talk about how we can prepare for a reset, because I know a couple of things to be true about the way that entrepreneurs rest, or maybe the way that they don't rest. So the first and foremost thing is that we need to prepare for rest. I was talking with a mom a couple of weeks ago on my podcast, Growing Pains, and what she told me was that she prepared to have a maternity leave when she invited her daughter into the world. And what happened was she actually was not prepared for how to rest. She literally didn't know what to do with her hands. And she's sitting there with this newborn baby, exhausted, because of course the early stages postpartum are absolutely exhausting. You're not sleeping. You have to be around the clock supporting this baby. And you're also recovering from a pretty major event in your physical being. And what ends up happening is she didn't know how to rest. So what she did was she did the thing that she knew how to do, and that was safe and that was really comfortable for her. And she picked up her computer and she started joining on calls. And about 2 or 3 weeks later, everything came crashing down. She was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to lead my team. I feel completely stretched both ways. And their team actually got really, really used to her being back. So the whole I have boundaries for my maternity leave thing was completely gone. And the reason I bring up this particularly is that we have instances in our business all the time where, whether it's maternity leave, or we're sick, or our kiddos are sick, or we're moving, or something happens in the business or in our life, and what ends up happening is we start to not know how to rest. We should be taking our time to take a minute, take a break, really prepare for a tough season. When we shut everything down, we don't know what to do. So then we end up not resting. And so preparing to rest is massively, massively impactful. I call it the onset of a reset. So you're really preparing. So let's just say, for example, last week we went out on Cape Cod with my family. I was completely off for an entire week. The week before that, however, what I did was I created an abbreviated schedule for my team. And so I actually slid into vacation in a way that allowed me to get the things done that I knew needed to be done. I didn't fill up my calendar with calls. I didn't do a ton of busy work or email answering or any of that stuff. I really was like, what does my team need to be super successful, to set them up for success in the week that I'm out? And how can I ease into understanding how to rest the week prior to my reset so that I could soak in the full benefits? And then additionally, guess what I did? I eased right back into my schedule. The thing that I love about rest, and I talk about this a lot in my book, is that it's a forcing function for you to actually define your operations, define some of the things that you're expecting from your team. And it's a really incredible forcing function for something that is not going well inside of your calendar. So let's just say, for example, you've fallen back on bad habits and you are constantly checking your email, and you spend like 3-4 hours a day in your email. And that's something that's just like saturating all of your time. You can take a reset, set up an autoresponder, and think through on your vacation, how do I show up back to my desk and answer less emails? How do I show up to my desk and actually be in a position where I can get the most impactful work done inside of my business, instead of these administrative tasks that, frankly, with some of my guidance, someone else could just knock it out of the park for you, right? So I love the idea of preparing for a rest. So what I did with my week prior to vacation was I set some intentions. I was like, I need clarity in these 4 specific areas, and I'm going to journal, I'm going to think, I'm going to be with my family and let ideas come into my brain. And guess what? I had breakthroughs on almost all 4 of the areas that I went into vacation thinking about. And the only reason I didn't crush all 4 in terms of having breakthrough ideas and clarity moments and all of that stuff is because I needed weigh-in from one of my key contributors on my team in order to push that forward. Then when I came back this week to be in my office and at my desk, I looped that person into the conversation, and then we had the breakthrough together on item number 4. So it's an incredibly impactful experience to actually power the engines down and lower your cortisol levels, and that's when you can start to accept your best ideas. So prepare for rest. Second thing is have boundaries around rest. I didn't tell my team, hey guys, I'm going out of the office indefinitely and I don't know when I'm going to come back, and here's how you can get in touch with me and just Slack me whenever and I'll be answering you guys. No. I didn't do that. What I did was I said, hey, listen guys, I'm going to be out for this time, and the week prior, here's how I'd like to prepare. I need you guys to let me know what I need to get you in order to feel really comfortable with me going out next week. And I would like to let you know that the only way to get stuff onto my calendar or my eyes on anything, I worked for about 15 minutes one morning. I kid you not, the entire rest of the week I was totally off. No meetings, no Slacks, no emails, no anything. 15 minutes one morning, and the only reason it got on is because it was mission critical for a client strategy. So I said, great. And I did it, and I gave my input, and I gave them a framework and some next steps, and they were super happy. None of my clients cared if I was on vacation. They just cared that their projects were moving forward, and my team had my back. The strategy was ironclad, and I was really excited about it. So the fact of it is that creating these boundaries are going to be really helpful. So number 1, what is the timeline? When are you going out? When are you coming back? And what specifically are you going to be doing during that time? So again, like I said, writing down those key things that you're going to be thinking about. Second big thing is making sure that you tell people how to communicate with you and what things you will and will not be able to basically sub in for if something goes awry. Now, in the beginning, I remember when I took my very first vacation from my business, I had 2 teammates, and what ended up happening is my list of things I was going to be willing to sub in for was much longer than it is now, because my business at the time was not as systematized, it wasn't as large, and it wasn't as, filled with amazing, capable teammates that can help. My 2 teammates were excellent, but they only had limited availability and a window, frankly, into what we did for our clients, and I was actually fulfilling on the bulk of the accounts. So for the most part, as we grow in our business, we can use the rest period to help be a little check-in point, right? For us to be able to say, oh wow, I used to not be able to take a full week off for my business, but now I can take a full week off for my business and allow it to give me the bandwidth to think strategically about what next steps look like, right? Really power down those engines, power everything down, and make sure that we have the clarity going into the next step. Third and final thing is to be successful. I personally like to position my vacations toward the end or beginnings of quarters. Reason I do this is because I came back from my vacation last week, and what I did was I planned our quarter for the next quarter. And it's really helpful and impactful because what I started thinking about is, okay, who do I want to be? What type of difference do I want to make in the world? And it starts to give you some clarity when you're with yourself, with the people that you love, in a beautiful place. We were sitting on a beach in Cape Cod, and I was just like, wow, okay, there's a lot of things that we've been kind of hustling and grinding around that don't feel very important. And then when I looked at the numbers, when I came back into the office on Monday, I was like, oh, actually, they're not producing a ton of results for us. So gonna go ahead and take those off. And so I think that the third biggest thing is just offer yourself the perspective, right? Offer yourself the opportunity and the perspective to look ahead and look out the next 90 days and even start to kind of tweak your, 2-year, 5-year vision. Make sure that you're on the path, right? Make sure that you are going in the direction that you need to be going, making sure that you're not going too fast in any particular direction, because ultimately I think that the things that lead to burnout or the things that force our computer to shut down is overuse, right? It's too much use. It's not enough forward thinking. If I was in a position where on my calendar, I got, a little tiny 15-minute reminder on Fridays to just shut my computer down and then I could reboot it back up on Saturday, I bet you I would extend the health and the overall functionality of my technology. Bet it. And we don't do that enough inside of our business. So give yourself that gift of perspective. Make sure you can kind of shut down at the end of a quarter and then reboot to jump into the next quarter, and then schedule it into your calendar, right? Make sure that it feels repetitive and that you can actually leverage this as an ongoing function of how you operate in the future. I guarantee that not only will it lead to more peaceful decisions in your business, but it will also lead to richer relationships in your personal life because you won't be so maxed and saturated with 10,000 things that you're doing. You'll have a filter through which you can push stuff through, and you can make sure that you actually are living a business and life by your design and not actually just being pulled in every single single direction by stuff that people want from you. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you will schedule in your next reset and prepare really meaningfully for that. I'll see you next time.